What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Let's dive right into our first news. Dan Hooker has fired back hard at Paddy Pimblett after comments made during a recent interview with MMA Guru sparked a heated online exchange. During the interview, Paddy spoke openly about Dan Hooker and questioned his overall skill set, particularly his grappling. He compared Dan to other fighters, saying people talk about age with someone like Justin Gaethje, even though Justin is actually 2 years older than Dan Hooker. Paddy went on to claim that Dan Hooker could not grapple at a high level at all, making several strong statements that quickly caught the attention of fans and fighters alike. It did not take long for Dan Hooker to respond. Taking to X, Dan posted an old video clip showing him running into Paddy Pimblett prior to UFC Qatar. Along with the video, Dan wrote that Paddy never said any of these things when they were face to face. He added that he thought they were mates, but clearly that was not the case, ending the post with a sarcastic shot aimed directly at Paddy the Baddy. Dan also referenced Ricky, a close friend of Paddy's who tragically died by suicide in 2022, shortly before Paddy's fight with Jordan Levitt at UFC London. That reference immediately escalated the situation. For context, Paddy has previously spoken emotionally about receiving the devastating news of Ricky's death just hours before his weigh-in, dedicating his fight to his late friend and using the moment to speak out about mental health. After the initial post, Dan Hooker doubled down, following up with another message where he bluntly wrote, "It's on sight, you fat bitch." Paddy Pimblett did not stay silent. He fired back with a strong response, saying he thought they could not be mates because he was ranked above Dan. Paddy explained that his original comments were meant as a hypothetical joke about Dan's grappling, but Dan crossed a serious line by bringing up his friend who took his own life. Paddy called that behavior the lowest of the low and said that on sight was fine by him. He ended his response by directly insulting Dan's fighting ability, making it clear that this rivalry has now turned deeply personal and very real. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to support the channel. Moving on to another news. Daniel Cormier has revealed how the season of ALF reality featuring him and Jon Jones as opposing coaches finally came together, and the story starts with a completely unexpected text message. According to Daniel, everything began when he received a message from a number he did not recognize. The text included a video, which immediately caught his attention, even though it came through WhatsApp, an app he does not regularly check. Daniel explained that when he finally opened WhatsApp, he noticed the message contained a video. As the video started playing, the first thing that appeared on his screen was a Russian guy. Moments later, the camera panned to the right, and there was Jon Jones. That was when Daniel instantly understood what was being set up. Seeing Jon Jones in that video triggered the competitive instinct that has always defined their rivalry. Daniel said that people who know him understand one very clear thing about his mindset. He always wants to compete against Jon Jones in anything. He admitted that he does not necessarily love the idea of being around Jon Jones casually, given their long and complicated history. However, he also made it clear that if Jon learned anything during the years they spent fighting and interacting with each other, it is that all he has to do is issue a challenge. Daniel emphasized that when Jon challenges him, he is going to respond every single time. The outcome of that response is never guaranteed. It could go in many different directions, but one thing is always certain. If Jon Jones puts the challenge in front of him, Daniel Cormier is not backing down. That mindset, according to Daniel, is what made the ALF reality coaching rivalry possible. A simple video sent from an unknown number was enough to reignite one of MMA's most intense rivalries. For Daniel, it was never about comfort or avoiding tension. It was about competition, pride, and responding to a challenge the moment it appeared. Moving on to another news. Bisping has shared his belief that Islam Makhachev is essentially unbeatable at welterweight right now. Speaking about the current landscape of the division, Bisping made it clear that he does not see anyone defeating Islam anytime soon. In his view, Islam is operating on a different level, and the confidence he has in his dominance is extremely high. Bisping acknowledged that the welterweight division is easily one of the most stacked divisions in the sport. He said he could spend another 20 minutes breaking down the matchups, explaining which contenders might have a chance, and why certain styles could, on paper, pose problems for Islam. However, even after considering all of that, he still comes back to the same conclusion. He is sticking with Islam. He also mentioned Michael Morales while discussing potential challengers. Morales has been viewed as one of the most exciting prospects in the division and was long considered undefeated. Recently, it came out that an early career bout had not been accounted for, leading to his record being adjusted to around 18-1. Despite that correction, Bisping emphasized that Morales remains a very dangerous and talented fighter. Still, none of that changes his stance. According to Bisping, the division being stacked with elite contenders only makes Islam's position more impressive. There are great fighters everywhere at welterweight, but right now, Bisping believes Islam Makhachev is the man to beat and the one everyone else is chasing. Moving on to another news. Justin Gaethje's upcoming fight has been described as his final push toward UFC gold, and those words are coming directly from his longtime coach, Trevor Wittman. Speaking honestly about the situation, Trevor admitted that this fight represents Justin's last true run at a UFC title. He said he is not afraid to say it out loud, explaining that if they do not win this fight, they are not going to continue chasing belts just for the sake of staying active. Trevor made it clear that Justin is not interested in becoming a gatekeeper or hanging around only for money fights. He described Justin as a goal setter, someone who needs a clear purpose to stay motivated. According to Trevor, this mindset defines everything Justin does at this stage of his career. He even shared a personal moment that highlighted that mentality, recalling a video filmed at Justin's house while his family was having dinner. Trevor explained that during that moment, he was speaking honestly with Justin's family, not directly to Justin himself. As the conversation wrapped up, Justin stepped in and confidently said, "It's not over, coach." Trevor pointed to that moment as the perfect example of who Justin Gaethje is. Justin is unique, driven, and willing to fight over and over again if needed. At the same time, he understands the importance of being there for his family and taking care of his long-term health. Trevor emphasized that balance is crucial now. Justin knows he must be smart, protect his body, and make decisions that align with his future outside the cage. Still, the ambition remains strong. If they manage to win the belt, Trevor said his dream scenario would be to defend it multiple times, going on a serious championship run. He also clarified that this bout is for an interim title, meaning Justin would still need to win the undisputed belt afterward to truly call himself champion. Even so, the message was clear. This fight against Paddy Pimblett is not just another matchup. It is the final chapter of Justin Gaethje's pursuit of UFC championship glory, driven by purpose, pride, and one last push to reach the top. Moving on to another news. Kamaru Usman has shared his honest opinion on the idea of stacking a White House UFC card with 6 or 7 title fights, and he believes it would be a big mistake. Speaking openly, Kamaru explained that while the concept might sound exciting on paper, the reality of watching that many 5-round title fights back-to-back could quickly become exhausting for fans. Kamaru said that first and foremost, nobody really wants to sit through 7 consecutive title fights, each scheduled for 5 rounds. He pointed out that if 4, 5, or even 6 of those fights in a row turn out to be slow or boring, the entire event could lose its energy. According to him, the risk of fan fatigue is very real, and that is why he sees the idea as a bad one. He went on to explain that what fans truly want to see are contender fights. These are the matchups where fighters are hungry, aggressive, and willing to take real risks to climb the rankings. Kamaru emphasized that contenders are often more exciting because they are fighting for their future. They are trying to prove something, and that urgency usually leads to action-packed performances. Kamaru contrasted that mindset with the mentality of champions. He explained that once you are the champion, your main goal is to keep the belt. That means being smart, tactical, and strategic. Champions are not going into fights looking to throw caution to the wind and brawl like it is a bar fight. That kind of approach, according to Kamaru, is not what makes someone a champion in the first place. He stressed that champions succeed because they are smarter than everyone else in the division. They manage risk, control fights, and do what is necessary to retain their titles. Because of that, stacking too many title fights on one card increases the chance of slower, more calculated bouts happening one after another. Kamaru ended his take by saying that the whole idea of putting 6 title fights on a single card just does not make sense to him. He joked that by the time the 3rd title fight rolled around, he might already be asleep. His message was clear. Balance matters, and too many title fights could hurt the overall excitement of the event rather than enhance it. Moving on to another news, Jon Jones has publicly praised Islam Makhachev, firmly placing him in the conversation as one of the greatest fighters of all time. This comes right after Islam completely dominated JDM to capture the welterweight title, a performance that only solidified his legacy as one of the pound-for-pound elite in MMA. Jon's praise is particularly striking, given his history with Team Khabib and previous debates over pound-for-pound rankings. Years ago, Jon openly disagreed with Khabib Nurmagomedov being ranked above him, and just 1 year ago, similar tension existed with Islam, as fans, media, and the UFC began pushing him ahead of Jon in the rankings. Speaking on Islam's recent performances, Jon said he is not surprised by the dominance, calling him a special athlete and one of the few chosen to achieve greatness. He emphasized that Islam is on the right path, doing everything correctly, and still has work ahead to further cement his legacy. Jon acknowledged that Islam's skill set, discipline, and mentality make him a standout in the sport, and he expressed excitement to watch the rest of his career unfold. Meanwhile, the heavyweight division continues to develop intriguing storylines. Alex Pereira remains sidelined after breaking his foot in October during his title-reclaiming knockout over Magomed Ankalaev at UFC 320. Pereira is targeting a summer return, potentially aligning with massive events such as the White House card in June. His long-discussed move to heavyweight is still alive, and a potential clash with Jon Jones remains one of the sport's most tantalizing what-ifs, even if timelines are uncertain. Fans are also keeping a close eye on Olympic gold medalist Gable Stevenson, who Dana White has expressed high hopes for. Despite the heavyweight division being stacked, many pundits argue that the division isn't as deep as it seems, and believe Gable has the athleticism, skill, and mentality to succeed immediately. Questions remain about whether he can dominate right away, or if the jump to UFC competition will prove more challenging than expected. With Islam's continued rise and heavyweights like Pereira and Gable preparing to make their mark, the landscape of MMA is shifting rapidly. Jon Jones' recognition of Islam, Makhachev as one of the GOATs, only adds fuel to the discussion about who truly belongs at the top, highlighting a generation of fighters pushing the sport to new levels. Moving on to another news, a recent interview has sparked serious discussion after new details emerged about a wrestling session involving Khamzat and an Olympic gold medalist. Russian MMA reporter Usha Taika recently sat down with Razambek Zamalov, one of Dagestan's most accomplished wrestlers and a proven elite competitor on the world stage. Razambek has competed at the highest level of international wrestling and captured Olympic gold, establishing himself as a technical standout long before this story surfaced. During the interview, Razambek was asked about photos that appeared online last month showing Khamzat struggling during a wrestling session with him. Those images quickly went viral and ignited debate across the MMA community, with fans arguing over what the exchange really meant. Razambek approached the topic carefully at first, making sure to show respect. He praised Khamzat's physical strength, resilience, and competitiveness, emphasizing that he did not want the situation to be viewed as disrespect or internet bait. Once that respect was clearly established, Razambek explained that there is a noticeable difference when the focus is strictly on high-level wrestling. According to him, at the pure technical level, especially in traditional wrestling exchanges, he felt fully in control. He admitted that the training session actually boosted his confidence and made him seriously consider a future move into MMA. Razambek said that getting hands-on experience with MMA grappling in a real training environment, especially against someone as dangerous as Khamzat, showed him that his wrestling is not just elite on paper. It can immediately cause problems inside a cage setting. He explained that while Khamzat gave him challenges in MMA-specific situations, such as clinch exchanges and submission-based escapes, the balance shifted when they focused on wrestling. Razambek stated that Khamzat is physically strong and tough, and for an MMA fighter, he is very good. He admitted that he had trouble in MMA aspects of the training, particularly in the clinch, where Khamzat used submissions and transitions to escape difficult positions. However, when it came to pure wrestling, Razambek said he had consistent success, especially with double leg takedowns. He added that when Khamzat visited their gym in Dagestan, every training session presented opportunities where he was able to give him serious problems. This was not limited to wrestling alone, but extended into grappling exchanges as well. Razambek closed by saying that before this experience, he had never seriously considered MMA. After seeing how his skills translated against one of the UFC's most feared fighters, that mindset has changed. Now the idea of stepping into MMA feels realistic and exciting, driven by confidence earned on the mat. Moving on to another news, Ilia has won his first legal battle against his ex-wife, Georgina, following a recent court decision in Spain. Earlier this week, Ilia appeared in court after Georgina requested permission to travel from Spain to Miami with their daughter. After reviewing the case, the court ruled in Ilia's favor and dismissed all of her requests. During the hearing, Georgina claimed that she needed to leave Spain due to online harassment. However, the judge rejected this argument, pointing out a key detail that weakened her position. According to the ruling, flight tickets for the trip had already been purchased 12 days before. Ilia released a public statement that later attracted widespread media attention. This timeline led the court to conclude that the travel plans were made before the alleged harassment became an issue. The court also addressed a sensitive period in the dispute, specifically the 4 months during which Ilia was unable to see his daughter. In its findings, the judge stated that it was the mother's decision to prevent contact between the father and the child during that time. This clarification was seen as a significant point in Ilia's favor, as it directly challenged claims that he had been absent by choice. With this ruling, Ilia has secured an important early victory in what has been a difficult and highly personal legal situation. The decision not only limits international travel with his daughter for now, but also reinforces his parental rights moving forward. Outside of the courtroom, Ilia is now shifting his focus back to his fighting career. Following this legal win, he is reportedly targeting a return to the UFC in late spring or sometime this summer. With this chapter temporarily settled, Ilia appears ready to put his full attention back on competition and his future inside the octagon. That's it from MMA Pulse News. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for your daily dose of MMA news.